is the rule number 4. So the coaches, players, and substitutes. So section 1. So the coaches. The head coach is responsible for designing the lineup card. So coaches also must be neatly attired, including the wearing of suitable footwear or dress in the team uniform in accordance with the color code of the team. So if a coach wears a cap, it must be approved by the head gear. So caps are mandatory for male coaches. So next is an offensive team coach. So base coach is an eligible member of the team but who takes his place on the field within the coach box. So 2 coaches are allowed to give words of assistance and direction to all the members of the team while at bat. So 2 coaches lang ang pwede. So one shall be stationed near first base and another is from the third base. So a coach may leave the coach box to signal a runner to slide, advance or return to a base, or move out to the fielder's way as long as he does not interfere with the play. So a base coach may address only his own team's members. Kailangan yung coaches is, yung kailangan niya lang i-advise is yung kanyang pinahawakang team. So one coach can have his possession in the coach box, a scorebook, pen or a pencil, and an indicator, all of which shall be used for scorekeeping or record-keeping purposes only. So a defensive team coach or manager is an eligible member of the team in the field who may be either non-playing coach who remains in the dugout or a playing coach who takes his place on the field. So this coach may be direction and assistance of the team while they are playing defense. So the coaches may not use a language that will reflect negatively upon players, umpires, or spectators. So kailangan na ang language is not reflect from negative others, para hindi na ma-misinterpret ng ibang team, ganon, ibang umpires. So no communication equipment is allowed between the coaches on the field, coaches in the dugout, coaches and any player, the spectators area in the field, including the dugout, coaches and players. So that's it. Next is the section 2, the lineup cards and the roosters. So the official line cards are to be completed and submitted to the official scorer and the plate umpire. At the start of each game, the plate umpire retains the card for the duration of the game. So the player's name shall not be on the starting lineup unless the player is present in the team and in uniform. So kailangan kapag tinawag na yung pangalan, kailangan nakasuot ka na ng inyong uniform. So all available players should be listed in the designated place by their last name, first name, and the uniform number. So sa lineup cards, kinakailangan na pag maglista ng names is yung name mo, your last name, your first name, and kailangan ng number of jersey or t-shirts na ginagamit. So eligible roster members may be added to the available substitute list at any time during the game. So the name of the head coach or manager must be listed on the lineup card. So the male roster shall include only male players and female rosters shall include only female players. So next, section 3 is the players. A team consists of players in the following position: fast pitch, 9 players; pitcher, catcher, first base. Sa fast pitch, ito ang kailangan. May 9 players tayo. The pitcher, catcher, baseman, first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, the shortstop, the left fielder, the center fielder, and the right fielder. Yun ang sa fast pitch. So the fast pitch with a designated player naman, or DP. Designated player, ito siya yung pwede siyang mag-insert. Bali, 10 na sila ngayon dito kasi may designated or DP. So 10 players, same as fast pitch plus a DP. Sa slow pitch naman, kailangan ng 10 players. Pitcher, catcher, first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, the shortstop, left fielder, center fielder, the right fielder and the right center fielder. Left center fielder. Oh. Next is the slow pitch with an extra player. Sa slow pitch with an extra player, kinakailangan nila ng 11 players, same as slow pitch plus and EP who bats in the lineup. Next is the co-ed slow pitch, the 10 players. So male, female, 5 male and 5 female. So with the following positioning requirements, the 2 male and the 2 female in both the infield and the outfielded, and the 1 male and 1 female as pitcher or catcher. Mix dito siya. So the co-ed slow pitch with extra players, kinakailangan din siya ng 12 players. Ang 6 male and 6 females is nasa slow pitch plus 2 EP who bat or mga extra players who bats in the lineup. Same as same kanina dun sa co-ed slow pitch na 10 players din. So, players of the team in the field may be stationed anywhere or fair territory except the catcher, who must be in the catcher's box, and the pitcher, who must be in the legal pitching position at the start of each pitch or within the pitcher's circle or fast pitch when putting the ball in play. So a team must have required number of eligible players present in the team area to start continue a game. So kinakailangan pag mag-start na ang play, kailangan kompleto na. So it is forfeited. Next is section 4, the starting players. The starting player shall be official with the lineup cards, is inspected and approved by the plate umpire and the team representative and the pre-game meeting. So the names may be entered to the official lineup card in advance of this meeting. So however, in case of injury or illness, changes may be made of the pre-game meeting with the umpires. A listed substitutes may take the place of a starting player whose name is in his team's starting lineup. So he would then be considered the starting player. So pag may, halimbawa, may na-injured na isang player, so kailangan, so it's needed na pwede siya na substitute, ganun. So, a starting player so changed at the meeting could enter the game as substitution at any time later in the game. So, yun yung kailangan. Halimbawa, pag nagkasakit ka, ganun, nagkasakit yung isang player, yung ibang yung ibang nakalista doon sa lineup card na substitutes, pwedeng ipasok para maging starting player siya. So next is the section 5, which is the designated player for the fast pitch. A designated player is referred as DP, may be used as a batter or any defensive player, provided it's made known prior to the start of the game and his name is entered on the lineup strip as one of the 9 hitters in the batting order. So the starting DP may be substituted and may enter one time, as long as he returns to the position in the batting order that he occupied when he left the game. So the name of the defensive player for whom the DP or the designated player is batting, known as the flex player or flex, will be placed in the 10th position on the lineup sheet. The starting player listed as the designated player must remain in the same position in the batting order whenever he is in the game. So the designated player and his substitute or replacement may be play offense at the same time. So the designated player may be substitute for any time, either by batter or runner, or a flex for whom he is batting may enter in his place, an offense. So, grabe ang rule ng designated player natin or ang flex player. A flex player plays offense for the designated player. The designated player is now considered to have left the game and may re-enter once in his place in the batting order. This change must be reported to the plate umpire. So, if replaced with a flex player, this reduces the number of players from 10 to 9. If the designated player not re-enter the game, may continue on legally and with 9 players. So if the Designated player re-enters, he may play offense and defense, continue the game with the 9 players. So, or he may bat in his original place in a batting order, and the flex player returns to the 10th position in the lineup and plays defense only again. So, the effect from the section 5A is the provision of the rule number 4, section 8, and the penalties for violation applied. So, placing the designated player in a position in the batting order rather than his starting position is considered an illegal re-entry, and results in the ejection of both the manager and coach whose names appears on the lineup card and designated player of his substitute. So, the designated player play defense at any position. So, it should be the designated player play defense for the player other than the flex player. So, the player will continue to bat but not play defense, and it's not considered to have left the game. The player for whom the designated player is playing defense is referred to as offensive player. So, the designated player may play defense for the flex, and that person is considered to have left the game, reducing the number of starting players tonight. So, when the designated players plays defense for the flex is considered to have left the game and may re-enter once in the 10th spot in the batting order or in the designated spots. This change must be reported to the umpire's plate. So, the flex may be substituted for any time. By illegal substitutes, the starting flex may re-enter the game one time, either in the 10th position or in the designated position in the batting order. So, if returning to the number 10 position, he will again play defense only, but may play in any defensive position. So, if returning to the designated player's position in the batting order, he will play offense and defense, and the game will continue with 9 players. Yeah. So, yun na yun siya, yung designated at saka flex player natin. So, another effect from section 5 sa GI, the provision of rule number 4 to section number 8. And the penalties violation apply. So, the placing the flex in a position in the batting order other than that of the starting designated player is an illegal re-entry and results in the ejection of both manager whose name appears in the lineup cards and the flex or his substitutes. So, ayun yung siya yung penalties and violation na mangyari pag na-place na if the flex position is na-place siya in a batting order other than sa designated player. So, next is the section 6, the extra players or the SP from slow pitch only. So, an extra player referred as AP and extra player is optional, but if one is used, it must be made known prior to the start of the game. So, kailangan na ma-recognize yan sila. And the player's name listed in the lineup card as one of the 11 hitters in the batting order. So, kailangan yung mga extra players like mga substitutions, mga mag-substitute, yan. Kailangan nakalist dun sa lineup card natin. So, if the extra player is used, he must be used the entire game. Note, failure to complete the game with an extra player results in forfeiture of the game. So, yun siya. If an extra player is used, all 11 must bat and any 10 can play defense. So, defensive position can be changed, but batting order must remain the same. So, kahit sa batting order is 11 kayo, sa defense is kinakailangan na 10 persons lang pwedeng mag-play or pupunta sa defense. So, next is the co-ed only. If 2 extra players are used, all 12 must bat and any 10 or 5 male and 5 female may play defense So defensive positioning may change as long as the co-ed positioning is followed. The batting order must remain the same throughout the game. The starting extra player may re-enter the game one time after having been substitute as long as he returned to the position of the batting order that he is occupied when he left the game. So ito yung effect ng Section 6A is F. When a team violation any of the above provisions or uses the illegal extra player, the player is violation shall be ejected. So, ang team na nag-violates from above the provision na or uses an illegal extra player, kapag nag-use sila ng halimbawa mga outsider player, yan, may eject sila, they will be ejected. Next, the Section 7 is Reentry. So, any of the starting players may be substitute and re-enter once, provided such player occupy the same batting position whenever they are in the lineup card. So, exception, if the starting player currently not in the lineup brought into the lineup as a replacement player. So, note, the original player and the substitutes cannot be in the lineup at the same time. If a manager or coach removes a substitute from the game and re-enters same substitute later in the game, there is considered an illegal re-entry. So, kinakailangan na yung original player on substitutes is magkaiba. They are dapat hindi sila same. So, the exemption when the substitute is used and replacement player. When a starting player re-enters the game and occupies a different position in the offensive lineup, it is considered an illegal re-entry. So, kailangan na sundin kung ano yung mga nasa line-up card kapag offensive tayo. So, ito naman yung effect niya sa Section 7A. Violation of the re-entry rule is handled in an appeal, which may be made at any time while the illegal player is in the game. Very, siya, violation na talaga siya. Kapag nag-enter siya, kahit on play pa lang tayo, nasa live play or mapa-violate talaga yon. Illegal player na siya. So, the appeal need not to be made prior to the next pitch. Hindi na siya pwede. So, the penalty for an illegal re-entry is the ejection of both manager, coaches whose name appears. So, ayun, pag na-violate ito siya na rule, so, the team will be ejected. The manager and coach na yun siya. Not all the illegal substitutions. So, any action that occurs while the illegal re-entry or players is in the game that governed by Rule 4 on Section 8 from G to 4 effects of 2 and 4, the name of the new manager coach who is assumed responsibility for the team must be provided to the umpire. Okay, so kanina pala yung sinabi ko na pag nagkaroon ng violation sa illegal re-entry, so pag na-eject na yung both manager or coaches and the illegal substitute, so pwedeng mag-introduce ng another manager para mag-assume ng responsibility for the team. So next is the Section 8, the substitute or the illegal player. So a substitute may take place of a player whose name is in his team lineup. So the following regulations governs player substitution. So first, the coach or team representative of the team making the substitution shall immediately notify the plate umpire and the time that substitute enters. The plate umpire shall report the change to the scorer. Kailangan pag mag-substitute, kailangan sasabihin mo yan siya sa umpire, sa scorer. A substitute is not officially in the game until a pitch has been thrown or a play made. So, sa fast pitch only, if the designated player replaces the flex or the flex replaces the designated player, this change must be reported to the plate umpire. Penalty, if not reported, it treated the same as the unreported substitute or illegal player. Magkakaroon siya ng violation, ng penalty na siya pag hindi niya ni-report sa plate umpire. So, if a substitute enter the game without reporting and after a pitch has been thrown, legal or illegal, or after a play has been made, the player will be declared ineligible when discovered. So the use of unreported substitute, an illegal substitute, and an announced replacement player or the unannounced return to the withdraw player must be brought to the attention of the umpire while such player is in the game. If the team manager or the player in violation informs the umpire prior to the offended team is appealed, there is no violation regardless of how long the player or players will illegally in the game. So all action prior to the discovery is legal. If the team is in violation has no substitute to replace the player, declared ineligible, or if the starter has re-entered one time, the game is forfeited now. This is the exemption niya. If an unreported substitution, an offense bots and reaches base and then he is discovered and appealed before a pitch the next batter, or if at the end of the game and before the umpires leave the field, all runners or including the batter will return to the base occupied at the time of the pitch, and the unreported substitute is declared ineligible and called out, and all outs that occur on this play will stand. So, ayan na siya. So, if the substitute is an illegal player for any reasons, the substitute will be subject to the penalty for the violation. So, magkaroon naman siya ng violation pag ganun. So, the use of an illegal substitute and announced replacement player or the unannounced return a withdraw player under the replacement player rule is an appeal play that must be brought to the attention of the umpire by the offended team while the illegal substitute or player in violation of the replacement player rule is in the game. So, any player must be substituted from the game during any dead ball. So, if any injury to the batter, runner, or runner prevents them from proceeding to the awarded base and the ball is dead, the batter, runner, or a runner may be substituted for. So, kapag halimbawa na injury yung isang batter, runner, or a runner from the awarded base and the dead ball is from awarded base and the ball is dead, pwede siyang mag-substitute for him or her. Pwede siyang mag-substitute. So, the substitute will be allowed to proceed in or awarded bases. So, the substitute must illegally touch any awarded or missed base not previously touched. So, a player substitute from the game shall not participate in the game again, except a coach. Exception, the starting lineup may re-enter once only. So, multiple substitution can be made for the players listed on the starting lineup, but no substitute can return to the game after being withdrawn from the lineup except for the replacement player. So, take note that the provision of rule number 4, section 8 will not apply in the event of the required use of the replacement player unless such player is legally appealed for the failure to report to the umpire. Nakikita ito sa rule number 4, section 11. So, an illegal player is a player who takes position in the lineup. So, either an offense or defense who does not have an illegal right to that position. A player will not violate the illegal player rule until one pitch or legal or illegal has been thrown or claiming. This is the effect from the section 8. So, the illegal players include illegal pitcher, the illegal batter, illegal runner, the illegal re-entry, unreported substitute, and also the defense. Yun. So, ayun yung mga belong doon sa ating illegal players. So, next is the section 9, the disputed calls. Any team members disputing and judgment decisions by an umpire will constitute a team warning. Any repeat offense shall result in the ejection of that team member. So, next is the dugout conduct. So coaches, players, substitutes, or other bench personnel shall not be outside the designated dugout area. So except when the rules allow when considered justified by the umpire. So this includes players other than the on-deck batter who must remain in the on-deck cut circle. So at the start of the game, between innings, or when a pitcher is warming up. So there shall be no smoking in the designated dugout area. So the effect from section 10, the first offense in a team warning is a team warning. So any repeat offense shall result in the ejection of the team members. Next is the section 11, the replacement player. So in the event of any player bleeding during the game, the player must be withdrawn from the game. If the bleeding cannot be stopped within a reasonable length of time, or if his uniform becomes recovered with blood, the withdraw player shall not return the game until all bleeding becomes bleeding cases, the injury cleaned and covered, and if necessary, is uniform replaced. So kailangan, pag halimbawa yung isang player is na injury and maraming dugo ang nawala or parang lumalabas sa kanyang katawan or any parts sa kanyang katawan, it must be replacement by a player. Kailangan ng replacement ng player yun siya. So kailangan if halimbawa kapag nadugoan na din yung damit, kailangan palitan na din. If a change of number is required due to new uniform shirt, there is no penalty. Walang penalty doon kasi reasonable naman siya. Valid ang reason. So, but the umpire should be notified of new number. So, kinakailangan pa rin na sabihin sa score or sa umpire natin. So, the withdraw player shall be replaced by a replacement player who may act for the withdraw player for the remainder of the innings in the progress. So, the umpire must be notified that a replacement player is entering the game. Kinakailangan pa rin na sabihin talaga sa umpire kung mayroong replacement player tayo na papasok sa game. So, the effect from the 11A, from section 11, the use of ineligible replacement player shall be considered an illegal reentry with the relevant penalties to apply. So, failure to notify the umpire of the use of replacement player shall upon a legal appeal subject the player to the provisions of the unreported substitute rule. So, the replacement player shall be permitted to bat in the turn of the withdraw player and field for the withdraw player under all circumstances that would apply to the withdrawn player. So, the withdrawn player may turn to the game at any time during the period of time as described in above without being treated as a substitution. So, the umpire must be notified pa rin kapag babalik na yung player. So, that's it. So, this affects another effects from the section 11G to E. Should the withdraw player not be able to return to the game after being out of the time described in above, replacement player must be treated as substitute. So, maraming effect ang section 11 to D from this kapag may sa replacement player. But always remember that if pag mag-replace ng player, kailangan ma-notified or kailangan malaman pa din ng umpire. So next section is section 12, the temporary runner for the fast pitch only. A temporary runner is a legal for a catcher of a record from the previous half inning who is in a base with 2 outs. The following provision may apply. It is optional for the offensive team manager. The temporary runner may be used anytime after the second out occurred. So the temporary runner is the player scheduled to the bat last and who is not on the base at the time of the option is taken. So if an incorrect player is used as a temporary runner, the error shall be corrected when noticed without penalty. So the section 13 is the violations and penalties na tayo. So a team member shall not make disparaging or insulting remarks to or about opposing players. Kailangan walang mga bad words like that sa officials or spectators or commit other acts that could be considered unsportsmanship conduct. So, kinakailangan marunong tayo makisama. We know that word sportsmanship. The penalty for violation by team members shall be, for a first offense, the offender may be a warned. For a second offense, or if the first offense is considered serious enough by the umpire, the offender is ejected. So note, if the event of the coach is